Hey, yo, what up? And this is Worst to Least Worst presented by Hoops FYI. And today we're going to rank the NBA in-season tournament courts from number 30, the worst, up to number 1, the least worst. Before we jump into the rankings, make sure you wipe your feet off at the door by clicking the subscribe button. Pull up a seat, grab a drink, a snack, join us on our other social media outlets, TikTok and Instagram, and become a member at hoops.fyi. And be sure to get in the comment section to voice your worst and least worst. Before we get started, let's dive into a quick court recap. Every in-season tournament court is fully painted from edge to edge in a two-tone color base with a primary color dominating the outsider free throw lane markers and a secondary contrasting color between the free throw lane markers stretching from one baseline to the other baseline. The colors and design themes for the courts complement each team's 2023-24 City Edition theme. At center court, there's an illustration of the tournament trophy, which is called the NBA Cup, with the team logo given a special City Edition treatment splattered across that trophy. And then at the free throw lane, there's another illustration of the trophy, but in a less dynamic silhouetted version. Along each baseline is the team's City Edition version of their wordmark logo. And then along the sidelines are additional design elements like slogans, alternate logos, and tributes to franchise legends. With the groundwork set, let's go ahead and jump into the rankings. Coming in at number 30, the first to get out of the pack, the worst of the worst, last place, we have the New Orleans Pelicans at Smoothie King Center Arena. This is the first time in franchise history that they've had an alternate court to go with their main court. And pretty much I don't like it. It's too loud, it's too nasty looking. The color theme, it just doesn't hit. I know it's based on New Orleans, that Mardi Gras type of feel, but I think they could have used maybe black instead of purple. And then in the center, maybe use that lime green. And I think that would have been a hit. There aren't too many black courts on here. Actually, there's only one, but I think they could have used black a little bit more. One thing I do like about this court is I like the skeleton logo. They could have done black on the outside, the lime in the middle with the skeleton logo. That would have been pretty ill. Moving on to number 29, we have the Indiana Pacers. And for this one, I don't like the color combo on this also. Obviously, with a lot of these from like 20 to 30, it's all about the color combo. And with this one, their in-city jersey is black with this blue and with that yellow. And the yellow is supposed to be based upon city lights. I don't get it because there's no black, so you just see yellow and blue. Now, if they had black or some darker color like a gray, or a charcoal or something with the yellow, then I could see city lights. There is a good contrast. That blue and the yellow can look good in certain instances, but with this one, it just didn't hit. And now we have at number 28, we have the Atlanta Hawks. The blue for this is a little too bland. I'm not a big fan of the duotone combo, but this is based upon the 1968 Atlanta Hawks, which is their first year in Atlanta, moving in from St. Louis. What I do like about this is I do like the logo color scheme, the black and the gold. I don't see much of an improvement that could have been done to this. You know, this court, even though I have it at 28, I think it could be anywhere from 18 to 22, depending on different circumstances, but I'll keep it at 28 at the moment. Coming in at number 27, we have the Chicago Bulls. This court right here is my least favorite of the Reds. And just like the Pelicans, this is the first time the Bulls have an alternate court to go with their main court. I do like that Chicago that's along the baseline. And that Chicago is based upon the signage of the old Chicago Stadium back when Jordan and them played, before they moved into the United Center. So I do like that element. And the red I get what they were doing with the red on red because their city theme is titled Madhouse on Madison. So when you think of red, you think of chaos. You think of madness. And so I do understand why they went with the red on red, but it's a little bit too loud for me. Maybe if they went with a darker color, if they would have went with like a charcoal with the red in the middle, and then with this logo, man, this court would have definitely been a top 5 court. And speaking of the logo, I do like the treatment they gave to the logo, the black and white. I think that's really nice. The Bulls logo has always been iconic. They did a good job with that part. At number 26, we have the Phoenix Suns. I'm not a fan of this purple. I'm actually not a fan of any of the purples. However, I do like the lowrider influence elements that you see along the sidelines on the bottom. Those design elements were inspired by the Chicano fan base in Arizona. I get it. That's a real beautiful part of it, but once again, the purple just doesn't do it for me. And at number 25, we have the Utah Jazz, which is another purple. I'm not a fan of this purple. Like I said before, I'm not a fan of any of the purples, but this purple treatment is better than Phoenix's purple treatment. The color theme is based upon the Jazz's traditional purple that they use, which is different than their current jersey, which utilizes black and this highlighter yellow. To improve this, they should have taken that purple strip from the middle and maybe put something more natural in there. It would have been nice to see more white in some of these courts. And if you watched any of the Utah games, it looks very washed out because their jerseys are purple and then the court is all purple. So it looks somewhat muted. It's like a purple game going on. At number 24, we have the Miami Heat. There's nothing really special going on with this court. The theme aligns with the traditional Heat color theme, which is black, red, and what they've done is they place gray in the middle. This court is just too bright, like pretty much all of the reds. However, I think this is better than the Bulls because of that gray contrasting in the middle. I like the fact that they did stick with their color theme. And from an improvement standpoint, I think they should have used white or something from their white hot theme. Coming in at number 23, we have the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this color theme is based upon the Clippers' early Buffalo Braves years and the Clippers' nautical theme. Initially, I had this court ranked somewhere between 15 and 18. However, I had an opportunity to see this court live. I was actually seeing this court with my own eyes, not on TV, in person. And I wasn't a fan of it. Something was off about it. From an improvement standpoint, I don't see much of an improvement. Once again, I think this picture looks better than what it looks like in person. I do like the Clips logo, and I really like the jersey also. However, the court just wasn't doing it for me. At 22, we have the Houston Rockets. This theme was inspired by Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon, who both played for the Houston Rockets as well as playing for the University of Houston. And Clyde also played high school in Houston, while Hakeem played the majority of his years with the Rockets and Clyde playing only several years. It reminds me too much of the University of Houston. It looks very high schoolish or very collegey, and it's sort of like a Letterman jacket. So you're basically looking at a Letterman jacket on the court. I do like the H-Town logo in the middle to give it a little bit of twist. I'm a big fan of red, white, and blue, but like most of these reds, it's just a little too loud. Coming in at number 21, we have the Philadelphia 76ers at the Wells Fargo Center. For this court, this looks very similar to the Rockets, with the main difference being they used a different blue. I like the logo that's in the center. I like that a lot, but it reminds me of the 76 gas station logo, if you know the 76 gas station logo. I like the open market influence. And when I say open market, let me explain. The text and design elements for this court were inspired by, or not this court, but for their in-city theme was inspired by the Reading Terminal Public Market. Now, I've been to Philly before, but I've never been to that market. But apparently it's, a very big touristy thing to do when you go there. If you see along the sidelines, you'll see that little triangle with the arrows. That's inspired by the market. What I think they could do to improve this is swap the blue with the red, meaning make the dark blue the dominant color, and that will differentiate it from the Houston court. And now let's go over the top 20. But before we go over the top 20, take a moment, pause the video, and drop your opinions in the comment sections on what you think about 30 to 21. Now at number 20, we have the Denver Nuggets. There's nothing special about this court. I don't really hate it. I actually like it a little bit, but like I said before, there's nothing special about it. The Nuggets, Mile High City, blue and yellow, just doesn't do it for me. And the 5280, they use that a lot. Like you always hear Mile High, Mile High. I want to know a little bit more about Denver. There's a lot to do in Colorado, and I think they could have done something to better express that. At number 19, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Target Center. Now, the color theme for this is based upon Minnesota's 10,000 lakes. Sort of like how Denver went with the 5280 Mile High, Minnesota used their state mantra or whatever you call it. This is a little too bland for me, and it reminds me of the Hawks, but they used a better blue, so that's why I ranked it higher. This also reminds me of a pair of lightly dyed denim jeans. Now, if you see the jersey, the City Edition jersey, if you look at it from a distance, it looks like a pair of frosted jeans where the bottom of the pants are white and then it fades up into the blue. That's how the jersey looks. And that's how this court looks. It reminds me of a pair of lightly dyed denim jeans. I do like that they went with a blue on white logo color scheme. And I think they could have improved this if they added more white into the court. Several of these courts could have been improved by adding either white or maybe black to them. Coming in at number 18, we have the San Antonio Spurs. I like the little Austin Powers font on the baselines, where it says San Antonio. I like that little font. Their City Edition theme is based upon the 1968 World Fair that was held in San Antonio. Many aspects from the center logo are colors that were used around that time, predominantly used, like that peach, that orange, the yellow, the green, and if you see the jerseys, they have like a brown. If you ever seen Austin Power movies, they have a lot of those type of colors. Overall, from an improvement standpoint, I don't see many improvements that could have been done to this court. I think it was well done. I don't have it in the top 15 or the top 10, but I do think the court was very well done. It's a little loud, but well done. Coming in at number 17, we have the Detroit Pistons. This is my least favorite of the grays. There were a lot of gray courts, and out of all of the grays, I would say this is my least favorite. I like the orange, but I don't like the combination of the orange. I think if they would have utilized black as the primary color, maybe go with gray in the center court, or even possibly keep the orange, and then keep the Pistons along the baseline the same orange, I think this could have been a hit. At number 16, we have the Washington Wizards at Capital One Arena. I don't think they use the best elements from their city jersey. If you see their city jersey, they have a District of Columbia logo. I think they could have used that logo. Their City Edition court, which is different than this court, did a very good job at using the District of Columbia logo. I do like the Wizards logo in the center. I like the treatment that they gave to it. However, the gray with the teal, the teal sort of washes out. From this picture, you could barely see the star elements along the sidelines. And even when you watch the game, I sort of get that same view. And now we're getting into the top 15. At number 15, we have the Charlotte Hornets. The color theme for this is a teal, mint, and this gold color as the accent colors, or the colors they use for the text. It was inspired by Charlotte being the home to the first U.S. mint production center, and North Carolina being the location for the country's first gold mine. There aren't too many things I dislike about it. I actually like this a lot. It just looks a little unpleasant to play on. I like the color scheme, and I also like the variation of the logo in the center. However, I don't see it being better than anything from 15 to 11. At number 14, we have the Sacramento Kings. I like the color treatment of their secondary logo in the center, and I also like the ribbon stripes along the sidelines. The royal blue from this design was derived from their classic Kings jerseys from back when, and also their Cincinnati Royals jersey. I like the court. The gray is a little bit dark. When you see it on television, it looks really good, and the jerseys fit well with it. At number 13, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the best of the blue dominant courts. I wasn't a fan of many of the blue dominant courts, but this was the best. And I think it was the best because I like the use of the orange in the logo color scheme in the center. I think it gives probably the better contrast of all the blues, but I still think it's a little too bright. Now, the theme is based upon their current jerseys. The color scheme is based upon that. And the logo treatment aligns with the city jersey. Overall, I think they did a pretty good, decent job, but like I said earlier, it's just a little too bright. At number 12, we have the New Jersey, formerly New Jersey, now known as the Brooklyn Nets. This is the most basic court of the group. There's some basic courts in here, but this is probably, I would say, the most basic. It's not bad, but it's a little too basic to rank higher than 8 or 9. The blue in the Barclays Center washes out slightly. I think they could have done a better job at color treatment to not have that washout issue. They also should have added more design elements. Some of the design elements from their jersey, I think it would have helped improve this. And at number 11, we have the Orlando Magic. I like the colors of this. It reminds me of the Georgetown Hoyas with like a touch of the Dallas Cowboys. There isn't much I don't like about this court. They did a good job of replacing that royal blue with a dark blue. I think the royal blue would have not looked as good as this. And then they also replaced the A in Magic with the star, sort of going back to the old Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson, Scott Skiles, Penny Hardaway, Tree Rollin days. There isn't much needed for improvement. Maybe they could have placed something along the midcourt on the sidelines, but overall they did a good job. And now we enter the top 10. But before we go over the top 10, go ahead and take a moment to pause the video and drop your opinions in the comments section about how you feel about 20 to 11. Make sure you subscribe and like if you haven't. Moving on to number 10. At number 10, we have the New York Knicks. This court is pretty much a no-brainer. They went ahead and went with their iconic orange and blue color theme, and they went with the New York, New York across the center court as a logo. The city's so nice, they named it twice, which is a New York mantra, and it's been a New York mantra way before my time. This court looks a little more exciting in the image than it looks live on screen. When I seen it on screen, and maybe this could have been the television I was watching it on, but it was not as bright as it looks in the picture, but it was still loud. It was still loud and still bright. I do like that they stuck with their iconic color scheme, and at one point I had this at number 5. However, when I watched it on television, I had to move it down. At number 9, we have the San Francisco Golden State Warriors. I disliked the doo-doo brown in this image initially, but when I seen it in game, it looked much better. As opposed to like New York, when I seen it in game, it looked worse. For this one, when I seen it in game, it looked much better. I like the trolley tracks down the sideline. I like that it's flushed, it's more flushed with the sideline as opposed to centered. And I like the use of San Francisco instead of Golden State for a name. I think they could have used the wavy treatment of the San Francisco word, which is inspired by the hills in San Francisco. And if you see the City Edition jersey, the San Francisco is wavy. I think they could have went with the wavy version, but overall it's still good. At number 8, we have the Dallas Mavericks. This court is pretty simple. It's just a washed out gray, and it's my second favorite of the grays. It's simple, to the point, and they may have done a little too much on the sidelines with the for all of Dallas Fort Worth, but overall, I like the court, and like I said, this is my second favorite of the grays. And getting to my favorite of the grays, you have the Memphis Grizzlies at number 7. This court looks great. I actually love this court, and this could have been even higher, but I just think there are 6 courts that are better than this. But overall, this is a wonderful court. The black and gold in the logo looks great. It matches up with the trophy very well. The grays are not washed out. They did a great job of the logo placements. The logos on the court are rectangular, so they fill up space, and then the secondary logo repeated on the sideline adds that extra flair to it. Once again, this is a very wonderful court, and this could have been even higher, but there are just 6 courts that are better than this. At number 6, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. I actually love this court, and at one point it was in my top 3 or top 4. They went with the Bucks cream color as the primary color, and then they went with the green as a secondary color down the lane. And then the way that they use the light royal blue along the baseline and the sidelines and for the logo is beautiful. I like that. The cream looks closer to more of a natural color, and it gives you a feel of actually playing on the basketball court as opposed to some of these other courts, which are very, very colorful. In addition to that, it fits well with the jersey. I don't like the jerseys a lot, but it fits well with it. And now the top 5. At number 5, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just like with the Milwaukee Bucks court, it has a natural color feel. They could have utilized more patterns from the city jersey, but overall, I think they did an excellent job, and they probably don't need much more. The color scheme utilizes the Cavaliers gold, which looks more brown or nude, but it's meant to be gold, and it's accented with their burgundy wine colors in the logos and text. Down the center, you have a lighter gold, or what we're going to call a lighter brown. And once again, this court just looks natural. At number 4, we have the Portland Trail Blazers. At one point, this court was number 2 on my list, and it's still a great court. I still love the court. Obviously, it's in the top 5, but as I was going over and watching the games, my number 1 and my number 2 changed. What I like about this court is they found a way to use the red better than the other reds. So this is my best of the reds, and this is the only red that's in the top 20. One thing to note about this court is this is the first time the Blazers have had an alternate court to go with their main court. Once again, it uses the traditional Blazers black and red, and then they have the Rip City logo with plaid that is inspired by the former Blazers championship coach, the late, great Dr. Jack Ramsey. I love that. I love the way that they paid homage to him on the sidelines, and this court is just beautiful. I love it. And now we enter the top 3. Initially, when they released these designs, I created a ranking that I was going to release within the next week. But when I began to watch the games and I seen the courts live, I had to switch up my strategy. 2 of the top 3 courts that are in this top 3 were not even in my top 5 in my initial rankings. And the only court that was in my top 3 is number 3, and that's the Boston Celtics at TD Garden. This is the green version of Portland. Now, the green may be a little bit too much, but it's the Celtics. It's a historic franchise. You had to do the green. There was no other color to really do. And just like with Portland and New Orleans, this is their first time having an alternate court to go with their main court. The color theme uses a darker green than the Celtics green, but that's what I like about it, is that it's not too bright. It's loud, but it's not too bright. And then as the secondary color, they use the Celtics gold, which looks more like a natural brown, but it's actually gold. And then along the sidelines, they have the red Auerbach signature with Bill Russell's number 6 along the sideline. I like everything about this court. It's the Celtics and it's green. That's all that needs to be said. And now we get on to number 2. We're down to the final 2 courts. At one point, I had this court probably about number 15, if I remember correctly. And I had it at number 15 because when I first looked at this, I didn't get it right away. However, when I watched this court on television, I watched it live, I loved it. Though it looks very grayish, could be green depending on how your screen is calibrated, it's actually more of a black asphalt, like a worn out black asphalt or a charcoal. And then I think they also did a good job with the gold accents, which actually go with the trophy. This court is beautiful to watch, and I would have loved to play on this court. I think they did a really good job with this one. And now we get into number 1. Obviously, there's only one team left, so you guessed it, and you probably guessed it a while ago. And that's the Los Angeles Lakers. Classic. Purple and gold. It doesn't get any better than that. The iconic franchise went with the iconic look, and they did an excellent job to it. It wasn't much work to do. I'm wondering what they did in the design process. Did they have a purple version? Did they have a black version? Did they have some other colorway that they were thinking of? This is an excellent court, and they just did a fantastic job with this court. All right, man, and that's it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Worst to Least Worst, presented by Hoops FYI. Before we get up out of here, remember to hit the subscribe button, like, voice your opinion in the comments section, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and subscribe to the community at hoops.fyi. Until next time, peace.